Hi guys, greetings to you all, and you are once again welcome to the Stratford Africa channel. We are here in this video today to talk about the all popular European Super League proposal, the proposal that has gotten everybody in the football fraternity talking. I mean, it's been a roller coaster in these 72 hours. For the past few 2 to 3 days now, if you follow football, you know that everybody who is interested in football has got to say something or to one or two things about that proposal, and it's all about the European Super League proposal. What is it that's really contained in this proposal? This proposal just simply is made up of a few of Europe's top teams that has come together to break away from UEFA and create their own competition, which they intended to name, or they intend to name it a European Super League. So in the proposal, it is going to be made up of about 20 teams, and the 20 teams will have 15 members who have come together to form the league. The 15 members will be permanent in the league. It is only the other 5 slots that is going to be available for other teams to try and play playoffs and qualify for. So with the other 15 teams, every single season they will be playing in the European Super League. So the initial team that came out to do this announcement was made up of 12 teams. It had about 6 English teams: Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, and also Juventus, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona. A lot of the German teams have declined to join this. So that was the announcement was made. This announcement was made some few days ago. So ever since this announcement was made, there's been several reactions to it. And this board is actually made up of only about the owners of these various clubs and their chief executive officers. So if you monitor the structure very well, they've appointed Florentino Perez of Real Madrid as the president of the European Super League, and then with Joel Glazer of Manchester United and the Juventus man acting as vice chairman to the whole of this idea. So they want to break away from UEFA and form their own sort of Champions League, which will have a little bit of a different format from the normal Champions League that we play. So they intended to group the 20 teams into Group A and Group B, and then the 10 teams in Group A will play each other home and away, and the 10 teams in Group B will do the same thing. So at the end of those fixtures, the teams that are placed in the top 3 of Group A and the top 3 of Group B qualified to the knockout stages, which is the quarterfinals, and then the 4th and the 5th teams in each group will now then come and play to each other for the final 2 places in the form of a playoff. So the final 2 teams will now be gotten from the 5th and 4th of each group, which will then join the 6 teams to form an 8 teams, and then they will play on from there, quarterfinal, semi-final, and then they will play a one-legged final. And they say that there's a lot of money involved. So why did this proposal came up? I think that the big European teams are saying that they are being cheated by UEFA. They feel cheated by UEFA in the sense that the UEFA coefficient that UEFA uses to distribute the revenue it generates, in their opinion, it is not fair to them. They say they have the largest stadiums, they have the infrastructure, they pay the players, they have the biggest fans in the world. It is them that really generate the revenue. They generate a chunk of the revenue UEFA gets is generated by them, but then in the end they don't get much from it. And you know, the coronavirus has hit the football economy, and almost all teams are suffering. So they were trying to get a solution, a sustainable financial model to try and revive and survive this pandemic. So they came together with this idea. But ever since they came out and announced the idea, there have been diverse reactions to the news, with a lot of people being against that proposal. Almost all the people in the football fraternity has spoken against this particular idea. With only a few people, a few football fans that I have spoken to and I've seen on Twitter who seems to be in support of this. They are they are the minority. They are not that much. A very large group of people. They talk about the journalists, the pundits, ex-players, the managers, the players themselves, even players who are actively playing have come out to spoken against this idea. So what I've tried to do is that I've jotted down some points and I've grouped the argument into two: the argument against the proposal and the argument for the proposal. Because when this really broke out and I was listening and reading the proposal and reading the idea and what it was intending to do, personally I said to myself, okay, there's some a little bit of merit in this. But after that, I saw the reactions were negative reaction towards it. So I took a back seat and I wanted to understand those who were explicitly who was outrightly against it. Why were they against it? So let's just look at a few points that some of them were putting through. Key among them was that it was about the closed nature of the competition. The fact that the 15 forming clubs, whether they get relegated or they don't qualify for top four, whatever they do in their domestic league, they will qualify to play in the European Super League. People said that will kill competition and it will kill other people's dreams. So the fact that it was a close competition, it doesn't encourage competitiveness and sportsmanship. So people were against it in that area. People also said that it smells of greed. Everywhere there was greed written all over it. When you look at the way the announcement was made and the emphasis kept on being talked about was the money. All they talked about was the money involved, the financial structure, how they was going to make plenty money for the clubs. So this made people really say, these people don't care about our feelings. We are those whom you are making the money from. We the fans are those who pay for the TV subscriptions. We are those who buy the merchandise. We are those who pay for the season tickets. So and all we care about is our money, not how we feel. We didn't even consider how we are going to react to this. And then we kept on just mentioning the money. And then people also said that when that is approved and we are going to go by that way in the world, the smaller teams will become very, very disadvantaged. When we are going to go by the Super League standard, then we will have the like smaller teams striving hard to play at the elite level, because no matter how good they play, no matter how good they perform in their domestic leagues, they won't be admitted into the European Super League, because it is more like an occult or a syndicate of a sort. You understand? The teams that have already selected themselves to say we are the elite in Europe, it's only us who deserve to play here. You are not at our level, so you can't come and play with us. So people also said that the small teams being at a disadvantage is not the best, because the football economy, the football ecosystem is a togetherness thing. So the way the bigger clubs are trying to separate themselves from the rest of the football community, it is going to crash down the football pyramid, and that is really selfishness in their part. So it shouldn't be supported, and it should be kicked out, and all of that. So these are some few arguments those who are against the proposal put across, which really got my attention. Because really, if you are going to go by that selected number of clubs, then the likes of Monaco, the Leicester Cities, and your Sporting Lisbons, what will you then say to them? No matter how good they play, no matter how well they run their clubs, they can't be seen to compete at the top level. So if you are a player and you are playing for these teams, your dream is shattered. Until you are able to sign for these bigger clubs, you can't play at the elite level. And it shouldn't be like that. Sports should be open. The competitiveness should be open for everybody else to be able to participate. So that being said, I think let's take a look at the few arguments for the proposal too. People also said, and the few people who I've spoken to who seem to be in support of the proposal, what I have gotten from them is that they think UEFA's monopoly is not the best. That UEFA has been abusing its monopoly, and something like this will present a competitor to UEFA, which will make them sit up and do their work well. Because people think there's so much corruption in UEFA itself. that UEFA doesn't have the moral, they don't even have the moral right to stop this competition from happening, because they themselves they have some issues that they need to sort out. And also other people also think that like those making noise and against this proposal are just speaking for the smaller clubs, and in their opinion the smaller club doesn't deserve shit, because in their opinion the smaller clubs also doesn't care about the bigger clubs. A key example they gave was that look at the way they sell players to the bigger clubs. You understand? They always outprice the players. Whenever the bigger club approach them to try and sign their player, they take an extreme end and say it's either 100 million pounds or move away. You understand? And they say like Leicester sold Harry Maguire for Manchester United for 80 million pounds. What Leicester Leicester's main concern in that deal was the money. You either pay or you go away. So Leicester wasn't concerned about Manchester United's role in the whole football pyramid by the fact that the smaller clubs need the bigger clubs to exist. The smaller clubs need the bigger clubs for the revenue to trickle down for them to also be able to survive. We understand. Dortmund gave Ousmane Dembele out for 100 something million. Look at the amount of money they hold out for. They are asking for Sancho, Haaland, for example. We understand. So people think in that instance, it is everybody for himself, God for us all. So if they are outpricing players, and now the bigger teams are also coming to say that let's separate ourselves and go. After all, we are those making the money anyway. So let's go and make our money and keep our money to ourselves. It's only fair that they do that, because the smaller clubs are equally milking them out for when they want to sign their players. So those are some of the arguments those who were trying to support the proposal were making. So in all of this, now I would like to share my personal opinion about this whole proposal. After reading and watching the argument on social media, I realized that no, the European Super League was not an entirely bad thing, especially when I was reading Florentino Perez's press release. He granted an interview to visit a newspaper or a TV station or something in Spain, where he was explaining and talking about the fundamental issues in UEFA's financial model that is not sustainable. So a lot of the things Perez said in that interview really makes sense to me. But I think that where Perez and his people, those who were trying to form that accord, why they got it wrong was their dialogue. The dialogue and the consultation and the negotiation that went into this whole thing was too close. It wasn't open enough, to an extent that even the playing body of some clubs, the managers, the coaches in some clubs didn't even know about what their clubs were doing behind them. It was too bad. Not even to talk of the fans, the players involved. Even some captains didn't know that their teams were going into something like this. So the dialogue and the consultations, in my opinion, was not open enough. It was too close. So when they did it that closely and they came to announce to the world, the football fraternity felt like they were trying to impose this on us. You understand? Because out of nowhere, out of the blue, something like this has been announced. And then when you look at the components, no football person is involved. It's just the money, the owners and their CEOs, the businessmen, the billionaires. And when that happened, they kept mentioning the 100 million, the 300, the 400 million euros here and there. You know, people will think that no, these people are greedy. All they are interested in this is the money, is the money, is the money. So if they had opened the discussion up and invited various, made it open, everybody's input was taken into it, I think the reaction they would have gotten would have been a little bit different from what they got. So the dialogue wasn't open enough, in my opinion. So that's where they got it all wrong. You see that now all the English clubs have backtracked. All of them have issued statements to indicate that they are withdrawing from the Super League. I believe that the outbursts from their fans, coupled with warnings from the UK government, have also played a role in them trying to withdraw. Even Arsenal have even apologized to their fans and stuff like that. So the investors and the businessmen don't really understand that football is for the people. They think they could just do this and come and impress us with their pitches, their business pitches. But the fans are really what football is all about. When they don't take this, it won't work. This reminds me very similar, or it tells me like it's very similar to what happened in Ghana some few years ago, when the Parliament of Ghana decided they wanted to build a new chamber for themselves. And then when they announced it, the whole nation went sour. And the hashtag Drop the Chamber was trending on Twitter and everywhere. It's the same thing this European Super League has have to face. So all in all, I think the European Super League is not an entirely bad idea, but the approach those who were trying to initiate it took is what has let them down. It's really what has let them down. So in all of this, there's lessons to be learned in all of this. At the end of the day, if you make the noise and all of that, you don't learn the lessons, you don't achieve anything. So some of the lessons that should be learned is, in my opinion, is that they should serve as a wake-up call to UEFA. UEFA should use this as a wake-up call and fix their internal issues. They have to take a second look at their financial model and see how they can improve that. You understand? They see how they can improve that. Even though they've also announced some changes in the Champions League that will take effect in 2024. I heard Perez said he can't wait until 2024 to change things. That's why they were doing this. So UEFA really need to sit up and sit down with the clubs and take their views and incorporate them into whatever they also believe in, so that they will meet each other halfway. If not, our beautiful game is being monetized too much. It is really being monetized too much. And then also there's also another lesson in this for the smaller clubs. Just as I explained earlier, the smaller clubs are the biggest winners in this. The fact that the European Super League didn't survive, the fans, everybody in the football fraternity kicked against it. They are the biggest winners in all of this. So they also have to reconsider the way they negotiate and deal with the bigger clubs. The way they've been milking money of late from them in player sales, they have to reconsider that and know that in this whole pyramid and this whole ecosystem, we need each other to survive. So the extreme ends, they've always picked 120 million euros or you go away, this million euros or you go away when they are going to buy their players. They have to reconsider that and know that just as they need just as the bigger clubs need their players, they also need the existence of the bigger clubs to survive. They need them to be able to play and compete with them in the elite level. So they also have to consider their negotiations and their dealings with the bigger clubs. And then the club ownership system also needs a review. The club ownership system also needs a review. Now the billionaires and the businessmen are taking over football, which is not the best for the game. The Americans are always coming to England to buy clubs and when they do that, it's only the dividends and the profit they are interested in, not the football aspect of things. A prime example is the Glazers of Manchester United. They bought the club on debt, as people say, and all year in, year out, all they do is take out dividends from the club. They are yet to spend their own £1 million in the club. You understand? So things like that really need to be looked at. And also, all of this has led to Ed Woodward to resign from his vice chief executive role at Manchester United. And then yesterday they were trying to spin it around as if he was already leaving. If he was already leaving, why then did they have to announce it the time they announced it yesterday? It has everything to do with the failure of this Super League. I just hope that it doesn't end there. The Glazers goes on to sell the club in this summer, so that the real football people who are interested in football success can come and pick up this club and bring it back to where it used to be. This news is going to mess up the remainder of this whole season. Had this one gone through, what would have been the rest of the season? Chelsea were trying to get into the top 4. We also trying to remain there and play in the UEFA Champions League. So if the European Super League was going to be what is going to be played, even if you get relegated, we are going to be playing in it anyway. West Ham is trying so hard and they are playing so well, pushing hard to finish in the top 4. That is what football should be about. But West Ham can't just suffer and finish in the top 4, and at the end of the day, it all comes down to nothing. So this would have really affected the domestic leagues. Even though Perez was saying that it's different from domestic league, the domestic league will still go on and stuff like that. But its impact on the domestic league would have been massive. It really would have been massive. I hear they are saying they will still continue with the European, the English clubs. We live to see how that will go on. Because if Germany is refusing to play, England is refusing to play, then how super is that league? How super would that league then be? So I think Manchester United is also a very big winner in all of this, in the fact that this has led to Ed Woodward resigning from his position. Let's hope that now somebody who understands football, who understands how football clubs are managed, somebody who wants to win success on the field, will now occupy that role, just like the people like David Gill and the rest did, so that our beautiful Manchester United will now come back. This has really caused a lot of chaos and mayhem in the football fraternity. Even yesterday, Chelsea fans had to stage a protest. They were even stopping their team back from entering the stadium when they were going to play their game against Brighton yesterday. So it has really caused a lot of uproar. So basically, all in all, I think if you've been hearing about the Europa League, the European Super League proposal, but you don't know what it entails in it, I think I've done my best to try and cover all the pictures. I didn't want to really pick side. I just wanted to paint the both sides for my viewers and watchers to understand what has been going on in the past few days in the European Super League. Even though the English clubs have existed, the European Super League, the formers, the Spanish club and the Italian clubs are still trying to continue and say they will kick on with it. So let's wait and see what the future holds for them. I really think if they had gone about it very well and opened up the dialogue, we would have been in a better position than we are now, even though a lot of fans and football people didn't like the idea. So please let me know what you think about the video and this whole European Super League brouhaha, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Invite your friends and family to the community. Thank you all for watching. Until we meet again next time for our match preview against the Leeds United game, I would like to say a very big thank you to you all. Have a nice time and bye bye.